Hello, and welcome to this short video documentary showcasing some of the most stunning and historically significant scenic rail operations in West Virginia's slice of Appalachia. If you enjoy this video and would like to see more content like this in the future, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We begin our journey into the Appalachian Mountains in the small city of Elkins, West Virginia. Here, we watch as the new Tygart Flyer shoves back into the Elkins depot after completing its scenic run into the wild mountains. All excursions arriving and departing from the old depot must first Y on the southern end of town, making for a unique sight as the historical equipment is spotted in by the train's conductor. The new Tygart Flyer is perhaps best known for its use of beautiful, first-generation diesel locomotives, like these two EMD F units seen here. Today's leader, FP7A number 243, was originally built for the Canadian Pacific in 1952, when the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad, which operates all the railroads we will look at today, acquired the engine. They painted it, like many locomotives on their roster, into its current Western Maryland scheme as an homage to the original operator of this trackage. In addition to the Appalachian excursion trains, the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad also services a variety of freight customers. It is not uncommon to find these classic 1950s-era diesels adorned in their historical paint schemes, switching out local industries. After dropping off their passengers, the crew will take their train north towards the town of Bellington, where they will park the train up for the night at the yard. The new Tygart Flyer utilizes a head-end power generator car, located right behind the locomotives. The specialty modified rail car provides power throughout the train for things like air conditioning, lighting, and toilets, as the vintage diesels do not have a way to generate power for their passenger cars. To the south of Elkins, we find ourselves in the historical logging town of Cass, home of the Cass Scenic Railroad. Here, the engineer for the first train of the day will lubricate Shay number 2 for its run ahead. The company town of Cass, nestled at the feet of the Alleghenies, was established at the turn of the century by the West Virginia Pulp and Paper Company to house and serve their laborers working in the mountains above. As heavy logging in the region took out most of the easily accessible lumber, and with a plethora of wood to be found on higher ground, the company began construction of the railroad in 1901 to access the old-growth lumber found in the higher elevations of Appalachian West Virginia. The railroad, climbing nearly 2,500 feet at grades of up to 11%, employed highly specialized geared steam locomotives that could deliver incredible traction and power up the mountains. Unlike typical rod-driven steam locomotives, geared steam locomotives provide power to all wheels through a drive shaft and a series of gears. Although slow and impractical for mainline applications, these impressive pieces of machinery were the one and only choice for climbing the mountain rails. Undoubtedly the most successful geared locomotive of all, the Shay locomotive, was a popular source of power here at Cass. Identifiable by its externally mounted drive shaft and ornate, steampunk-like gearing, we'll watch as Shay No. 2 sets out on its first run of the day. At risk of being scrapped and abandoned, the state of West Virginia bought the railroad in 1961 to preserve this one-of-a-kind Appalachian operation. In 1963, the first excursion train departed Cass for Whittaker Station, 4 miles north up the grade. In 2015, the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad took over the day-to-day operations of the railroad. Today, 2 excursions are offered, the 2-hour Whittaker run and the more scenic 4.5-hour Bald Knob run. Once Shay No. 2 pushes the Whittaker run clear of the Cass locomotive shops ahead, the Bald Knob run will proceed toward the depot and board its passengers. Powering today's Bald Knob run is Shay No. 11. Built in 1923 by the Lima Locomotive Works, Shay No. 11 is the second heaviest Shay on the Cass roster, weighing in at 103 tons. Take a listen to its ominous whistle as it pulls in a Cass. In order to pull passengers up its unique trackage, the Cass has repurposed old lumber cars into scenic observation decks. You can feel the old wood shifting as you ascend the grades. Further up the grade, we catch up with the Whittaker Run in Shay number 2 as the train descends the Appalachian trackage. A few short minutes after the Whittaker Run, Shay number 11 eases the Bald Knob Run, the last train of the day, down the steep mountain grade. The Cass prefers to push their trains up the mountain and subsequently pull them down so that the locomotive can catch any runaway cars if a knuckle were to fail. Just like in the old days, all trains up the mountains have brakemen on board, who manually apply the handbrakes on the vintage cars to control their descent into Cass. Just north of Cass, we find ourselves in the village of Durbin, located right in the heart of the National Radio Quiet Zone. Durbin, for only a short while longer, is home to the Durbin Rocket excursion train that offers scenic mountain and river views as it traverses its 10-mile trackage along the Greenbrier River. On a cool summer's morning, today's crew has been up before the crack of dawn, readying a Heisler number 6 for her busy day ahead. Heisler locomotives, much like their Shay counterparts, are a type of geared steam locomotive that offers superior tractive effort for climbing steep mountain grades. Of the three notable types of geared steam locomotives, the Heisler was advertised as the fastest, whilst not sacrificing its pulling power. Once their locomotive is up to temperature and properly lubricated for the day ahead, the crew will navigate the old switches at Durbin and couple onto their cars to be used for today's run. Heisler number 6 was built in 1929 It weighs in an impressive 100 tons, making it the heaviest currently operable Heisler locomotive left in existence. Although it is owned by the state of West Virginia as part of the Cass Scenic Railroad roster, the locomotive was brought to Durbin in 2015 to fill in for the Rocket's home power, Climax Number 3. Climax Number 3, the third notable type of geared steam locomotive, and perhaps the least popular amongst loggers back in the day, was sent to the Cass shops in 2015 for a comprehensive inspection and rebuild. Once the Heisler couples onto her cars, the crew will pull their train forward into the Durbin depot to board passengers for their 2-hour excursion up the Greenbrier. Before departing Durbin, the train must wait on the railroad's track inspection car, a vintage brick-nose style Ford Bronco high-rail truck, to clear the trackage ahead. Once the Bronco has freed up the line, the Rocket is given the all-clear to depart the depot. Durbin was notable as a vital water stop for Western Maryland and Chesapeake and Ohio steam engines, as they made their journey across Appalachia, bringing opportunity to the isolated region. Today, only 10 miles of the original line remain, seemingly running to nowhere, with no outside rail connections. However, as soon as next year, that could all be changing. Work has been underway over the last few years to reconnect the line from Durbin to Cass, with only one final bridge segment required for the completion of the trackage. Once the line is finished, Heisler number 6 will return to its home at Cass, and Climax number 3 will resume its role as the leader of the Rocket. However, instead of continuing operations out of Durbin since their operational takeover at Cass, the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad plans to run all Rocket excursions out of Cass to centralize their operations. As such, this could be our final look at trains coming into the old depot at Durbin, and our final look at Heisler number 6 in the old railroad town. We will say our goodbyes to Appalachia and our goodbyes to the old rocket, as it steams down after a hard day's work. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day.